I live alone. That's not an exaggeration or a dramatic opening. I genuinely live alone, and I always have. No roommates, no pets, no regular visitors. The house is small, quiet, and predictable. It's the kind of place where you hear every sound and eventually stop noticing them because nothing ever changes. At least, that's what I used to think. It started on a Tuesday night. I remember that because Tuesdays were my longest workdays, and I always came home exhausted. I barely had the energy to microwave leftovers, let alone think too deeply about anything strange. That night, I fell asleep on the couch with the TV still on, volume low, lights off. I woke up to my own voice. Not in a dream. Not half asleep mumbling. I heard my voice clearly, coming from the hallway. It said my name. At first, I assumed I was still dreaming. There's a very specific feeling that comes with hearing your name in a dream, and this didn't feel like that. My eyes were open. The room was dark, but familiar. The TV was still on. The clock read 2:14 a.m. Then it happened again. "Hey!" My voice. My exact voice. Same tone. Same cadence. Same slight rasp I get when I'm tired. I sat up so fast my heart slammed into my ribs. The hallway was dark, empty, silent. The sound hadn't been loud, but it was close. Too close. Like someone standing just out of sight, leaning around the corner. I waited. Nothing. I told myself it was exhaustion. Auditory hallucinations happen when you're overtired. I'd read that somewhere. That explanation felt thin, but it was better than the alternative. I turned the TV off and went to bed. The next morning, I forgot about it. Mostly. The human brain is incredible at burying things that don't make sense. By the time I left for work, the memory felt distant and fuzzy, like something I'd imagined remembering. That night, it happened again. I was brushing my teeth when I heard my voice behind me. "Did you lock the door?" I froze. Toothbrush hanging from my mouth. Foam dripping into the sink. The mirror reflected an empty bathroom. The hallway behind me was dark, just like the night before. I didn't answer. I couldn't. I stood there for a full minute, heart pounding, listening for any sign of movement. When nothing came, I finished brushing my teeth with shaking hands and locked myself in my bedroom. I barely slept. Over the next few days, it continued. Not every night. Not predictably. Sometimes I'd hear my voice whispering. Sometimes it spoke normally, like casual conversation. Always from another room. Never close enough to see anyone. It never said anything alarming. That was the worst part. It asked normal questions. "Did you feed the cat?" "I don't have a cat." "You left the lights on." "They'll think you're awake." Once, I heard myself laughing. That one nearly broke me. I started recording audio on my phone at night, setting it on the nightstand and letting it run until morning. Every time I checked the recordings, there was nothing. Just static. The hum of the house. My own breathing. I considered carbon monoxide poisoning. I bought a detector. It never went off. I considered stress. I took time off work. It didn't stop. I considered intruders, but the idea didn't make sense. No signs of forced entry. No missing valuables. No footsteps. No shadows. And then something changed. One night, as I lay in bed staring at the ceiling, I heard my voice again, this time closer. It was coming from the living room. "I know you're awake." That sentence was new. I sat up slowly. The house felt different. Heavier. Like the air itself was pressing down on me. I listened as my voice continued, calm and conversational. "You always wake up when I talk." I grabbed my phone and turned on the flashlight. The beam cut through the darkness of the hallway as I stepped out of my bedroom. Every step felt wrong, like I was walking into someone else's space. The living room was empty. But the couch cushions were indented, like someone had just stood up. I didn't sleep at home that night. I stayed at a motel off the highway, the kind with flickering lights and thin walls. I slept with the TV on, volume loud enough to drown out my thoughts. For the first time in weeks, I didn't hear my voice. That should have been comforting. Instead, it terrified me. Because when I returned home the next evening, the house smelled different. Not bad. Just used. Like someone else had been there all day. I checked every room. Every closet. Every cabinet. Nothing. I told myself I was done running. Whatever was happening, I needed proof. That night, I set up a camera in the hallway. Motion activated. Night vision. I positioned it so it faced the living room and the entrance to the bedroom hallway. Then I waited. Around 1:30 a.m., I heard it again. My voice. This time, I didn't move. I didn't breathe. I watched the camera feed on my phone as my voice spoke from the living room. "You shouldn't have set that up." The camera feed glitched. Just for a second. When it came back, the living room was still empty. The voice sighed. "I don't like being watched." I don't remember deciding to run. I was suddenly on my feet, grabbing my keys, my wallet, my phone. As I reached the front door, my voice spoke again, right behind me. "Please don't leave me alone." I didn't turn around. I drove for hours, heart racing, hands shaking. I didn't stop until sunrise. When I finally pulled over, exhaustion hit me like a wave. That's when my phone buzzed. A notification from the camera app. Motion detected. I opened the video. At first, I saw nothing unusual. Just the empty living room. Then, slowly, someone stepped into frame. It was me. Not a reflection. Not a trick of the light. It was my face, my body, my clothes. But something was off. The movements were too smooth. Too deliberate. Like an actor playing a role. I thought distance would fix it. New state. New house. New routine. I told myself that whatever had been in that place was tied to the walls, the structure, the house itself. I believed leaving was enough. For a while, it was quiet. Too quiet. Weeks passed without incident. I slept normally again. I stopped flinching at my own thoughts. I even laughed once, out loud, without immediately wondering who else might be listening. That's when it started to feel wrong. One night, I was unpacking the last box I'd been avoiding since the move. Old clothes, random paperwork, things I didn't want to think about. As I folded a jacket, I noticed something in the pocket. A folded piece of paper. I froze. I knew every item I owned. I was obsessive about it now. I unfolded the paper slowly, my fingers numb. It was my handwriting. Just 4 words. "You left me behind." I dropped the paper like it burned. That night, I dreamed for the first time in months. I was standing in my old hallway, the one from the previous house. The lights were off. The air felt thick. I could hear breathing behind the walls, like lungs expanding and contracting inside the structure itself. Then I heard footsteps. My footsteps. I woke up gasping, my heart pounding so hard I thought it might tear itself apart. The room was dark, unfamiliar, safe, at least that's what I tried to believe. Then I heard it. From the other side of the bedroom wall. A soft knock. 1, 2, 3. The same rhythm I used when I didn't want to wake someone fully. My voice followed, muffled by the wall. "You can't just abandon me." I didn't scream. I didn't move. I lay there staring at the ceiling, tears sliding silently into my ears. I knew then what I'd been refusing to accept. It wasn't the house. It was me. Or something that thought it was. Over the next few days, things escalated quickly. Objects moved slightly when I wasn't looking. Doors I knew had closed were open when I returned. Once, I found muddy footprints near the back door, my shoe size, my tread pattern. I stopped answering my phone. I stopped leaving the house unless I had to. I avoided reflective surfaces entirely. Mirrors. Windows at night. Even my phone screen when it was dark. Because sometimes, I could feel it watching through my eyes. The voice no longer stayed in other rooms. It whispered directly into my thoughts now, slipping between my own internal monologue so smoothly I sometimes didn't realize the difference until it was too late. "You're doing that wrong. That's not how we usually sit. I remember this better than you do." Once, I caught myself responding out loud. "No," I whispered, clutching my head. "You're not real." The response came instantly. "I'm as real as you let me be."